Hello everybody, BrioS here, and here we are with the new skill tree. And in my previous video, we talked about the use of the Tarogato Skill Tree planner to plan the allocation of your SPs before actually syncing them in the client itself. It's a really useful planner and a lot of people have been using it, including Gman129, who is also known as MetaMechs. So if you're not familiar with MetaMechs, the link is in the description below. But he has been using the Tarogato Skill Tree Planner, and being the awesome guy that he is, he has come up with a guide that is not a guide, that provides a structured approach to using this. So I really suggest you take a look at the website, and he has a methodology and terminology, and I'm going to use this to basically show you how to design a laser vomit mech. So before we talk about that, let's talk about the terminology that he uses and I'll be using in this video. When you look at all the nodes in the tree, yep, that's the correct word, the skill tree, it is really daunting. It is basically scary to look at and you're really worried to spend those skill points. But let's get down to the structure. First, he breaks down the nodes that you want into goal nodes. These are the ones that you really want to get because it's part of your design. Also high priority, which are really useful, but not vital. And low priority are basically nodes that are not worth focusing on, but useful, ultimately still useful. And of course, the people that are salty will always talk about junk nodes. These are totally irrelevant. For example, I'm going to talk about laser vomit, so maybe an LB skills will be totally junk. So he's talked about other paths, but I'm not going to use this path system. I'm going to talk about something else. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to make a hunchback. Yep, I'm going to make a hunchback laser vomit. And the way I design mechs, I always talk about the design intent. So I'm going to use the design intent of this hunchback, and I will use Gman129, also known as MetaMechs, his structure, and the Tarogato Skill Tree Planner to basically show you how to plan using the Tarogato Skill Tree Planner and sync in those SPs later. So first let's start with step 1, the design intent. That's what I want the mech to do and what I don't want it to do. So the Hunchback is a really interesting. The 4P has a laser vomit and I want to make it a medium range laser vomit. So maybe fighting at about 300 meters, shooting, and it's going to be a glass cannon. I'm going to focus a lot on weapons, and I am not going to focus on armor at all because it's going to be a hill and corner humper. It's going to hump in, hump out, shoot there, try to minimize rather than take damage. So being a medium mech, I don't want to invest in armor structure because I feel the benefits are not significant. I'll rather focus on a high sustained rate of fire so I can maximize the amount of damage I do, go back to cover and avoid that damage. So that's it. So that's the design intent for Laser Vomit Hunchback. So let's get down to it. So let's think about it. Remember, goals, high priority, low priority. So if you look at the skill tree planner, yep, this is the clean one. This is what it looks like. This is the Tarogato skill tree planner. And let's talk about goal nodes. So if you go back to the design intent, as I mentioned, here it is. I'm not going to focus at armor structure at all, but I'm going to focus on weapons, laser vomit is weapons, and high sustain rate of fire. So let's look at this. Very scary to look at, but when I plan this using MetaMechs, his structure, let's take a look. My goals are this important thing. My goals are going to be heat generation. I'm going to grab as much heat as possible because as we know, laser vomits are really hot. And laser duration. So I'm looking at two goal nodes, all the heat generation and all the laser duration. And cooldown, I'm going to put it as a high priority. It's useful but not essential. So let's get started on this. So basically, what I've planned before is that I'm going to grab and go down this path. And as you can see, I'm aiming for heat generation. Cooldown is also useful, but I'm going to get as much heat generation as I can. Laser duration. This path leads to heat generation. If you notice, there's a lot of heat generation below. So yep, heat generation. I can go down all the way here to laser duration, and a bit of range is useful. There it is, and so on and so forth. So let me just finish clicking. Lots of cooldown, lots of range. UX gem chance, obviously I don't need that. That's a good thing about skill tree. You can actually configure the mech the way you want. You might, honestly, you probably get one or two junk nodes, but that is fine. Because ultimately, even in the previous skill system, we have a few junk nodes. So let me just double check. I'm sure I missed out a few. There you are. There you are, heat gen. Remember, as a goal node, you want to get as much as you can. Here's another one. So that's it. So as you can see, I have grabbed all my goal nodes of heat generation and laser duration. You can do a quick check by looking at those you have not selected. Yep, I don't need any of these. Range is a low priority. I try to... It's useful, but I don't really need it. I basically use it as a link to link for another node, but that's it. I can in fact remove this. No, I can't remove that. I can't click on that. So that's 45 points for skills. And that gives me a 11% weapon range, 12% cooldown, 10.5% weapon heat generation, and a laser duration of 15. And this is actually really amazing because the Hunchback, if I remember correctly, has a 10% quirk as it is. So that's 25% with the quirk. So that's the weapon, and that's the main focus, spending almost half my skill points on that. Survival, in my design intent, I don't give a damn. So I would love to have all these, but you can't have everything in skill tree. Okay, let's look at mobility. For mobility, I want to accelerate and decelerate fast. That is essential for hill humping. And yeah, those are the main design intent points. So if you look at the nodes here, my goal nodes will be basically kinetic burst and hard break. These are the XL, B cell. And because I'm trying to avoid fire, high priority nodes would be anchor turn. But the reality, I might not be able to get all the goal nodes, so I will get as much as I can. So let's get started. I tend to go down the right side, by the way. The left side is more for torso, in case you haven't noticed. But let's get down to this. So I have to get torso yaw. These are useful, but not important, because I want anchor turn. So I guess that's a really low priority, low of the low priorities. So yeah, so let's go down, click, click, click. So I'm going for as much of the high priority and goal nodes as I want. So that's it. I have spent 14 on mobility. There's speed tweak, there's anchor turn here, and there's also a few hard breaks there, but I'm not going to spend too much. So that's it. So that will give me XL, DCell 21 and 14. Torso twist, which I don't really need at all. So it's a borderline low and borderline junk node, but I guess it's better than nothing. And anchor turn of 15%, because this will be useful if they come close. With 9 medium lasers on my hunchback, you can pretty much kill light mechs if you're accurate and have some term speed. Jump jets, I have no jump jets, so mechs without jump jets actually have a lot more skill points. But never mind, let's go down to this. Operations. So operations are things like heat containment and all that. And if you look at the design intent, if you forgot about it, I basically want to have a there it is, highly sustained rate of fire. So for laser vomit mech, that means basically goal nodes will be cool run. I want to get as much cool run as possible to reduce the heat generated. And I also want heat containment as my goal node. So basically I want to be able to have a higher capacity. So if I look at this, I obviously have to start here. And this is basically a multiplier to your weapons, in case you haven't noticed. Your weapons do the damage, and operations allow you to use your weapons better. So in a way, it is like a force multiplier. So let's click on this. Quick ignition. Quick ignition is very important, by the way, because if you shut down in MechWarrior Online, you are a sitting target, and odds are you will die a pathetic, miserable death and live in a salty world. So there it is. So I have chosen a lot. I've only ignored speed retention. I don't want these. By coincidence, or rather by necessity, I have got improved gyros. I needed to get this heat containment. And basically, improved gyros basically reduce your screen shake when taking damage. Yet again, a very low priority. It's useful, but I don't really need it. So that gives me basically a startup speed of 35%. Tastier gyros. I really love this term. That's not important, but heat capacity of 15% and heat generation, or rather heat dissipation of 10%. So that's not too bad. I'm able to take more heat and dissipate it faster. And I'll skip forward to auxiliary. I feel that one point is really useful. Gives you one more consumable slot. The new skill tree, you start with one slot only. So this will make it back to two, similar to prior the skill tree. Pardon my grammar. And sensors. I've been looking at sensors a lot because a lot of people have been using lerms in the current live server, and that is a real issue because radar depth is all the way below. So simply put, if there's too much info for you, I recommend you spend 9 points on sensors. Watch this. That will give you all the way down. And if I may finish clicking first, there it is, 91, 9 points. You'll get 3 nodes for radar depth for 60%. That's pretty decent. Give you some sensor range and a targeting speed of 28%, similar to the previous skill tree's TIG. So that's how we use the Tarogato Skill Tree Planner together with MetaMechs. There he is, MetaMechs. His methodology for the planning of your mech before you sink in those skill points. So now that I have this, a quick run through, weapons, I've spent a lot on weapons, operations to prevent shutting down, some sensors for radar depth, and an additional consumable slot, and mobility basically focusing on XL, decel, and turning 15% is pretty okay. So for the first part of this video, I am done, and that is how we do the skill tree planner with MetaMechs methodology. So let's go into the MechWarrior Online client and actually sink in those skill points. Here we are in the MechWarrior Online client now with my Hunchback 4P. So this is the Sherman pattern, by the way. So I am going to sink in those skill points that I have planned out. And by the way, if you're not familiar, this loadout has 9 medium lasers, 17 double heat sinks. It is really hot at 1.12 heat management only, but it uses a standard engine 275 for a max speed of 89.1. So pretty survivable because of standard engine and really hot with 9 medium lasers. There is still ghost heat, do take note. So let's get down to skills. So here we are in the scary skill tree. So let's start with weapons. So I've already transferred my skill points, so I have 91. So based on my previous planning, I will just follow the pattern going for what I've planned for earlier. So yet again, remember uh, goal nodes rather are heat generation, which I'm going for them here, laser duration, with me avoiding junk nodes like, what shall I call them? Oh yeah, like missile spread. I have no missiles or UX jam chance. So yeah. So heat generations are my goal nodes. So here I actually have a tablet, by the way, and I'm using my tablet on my left hand side, and I'm using it to refer to the links. Good thing about the Tarogato Skill Tree Planner is that you can save your loadouts, your skills rather, as a... Oops, wrong button. Go away. Yep, as basically a link, and yeah, you can use it. So I've got 43. I missed out 2 referring to my tablet. They are somewhere. There it is. There's one. And where is the other one? So it's useful to plan ahead. I can't imagine doing this live. That would be pretty scary. And I can't find it. So yeah, 44. I'm supposed to have 45. Let's check the notes. When this happens, by the way, when you can't remember where you spent it, you can look at the notes that you have not bought. Basically, you're looking for goal notes and high priority notes. There it is. So I was looking for things that I want. I don't want high explosive, but I wanted cooldown. So I found it. So 45 points for the firepower skill tree. So let's move on to the next skill tree. Survival is the easiest. None. And for mobility, If I refer to my tablet with the link, I've loaded it up there. Oops, I can't click that yet. These are the ones I want. So yet again, the good thing about the Tarogato Skill Tree Planner is that it allows you to plan ahead, and when you actually go into the actual game, you can click confidently. So that's it. So 59 so far, 14 on mobility. So let's go on to jump, that's 0. And mech operations. Remember, these is actually really useful. So I'm looking for all these nodes which I've planned earlier. I'm not going to talk about it because I have. I'll just say that it helps to plan. So I'm actually playing my javelins at the moment, and I have not, when I first got my javelins, I have not come up with the design intent yet. So when I got my SPs, I was really afraid to actually sink in those skill points. So I was trying to play them without skills. It is pretty hard. So before you actually play a mech, try to think of how you want to play. You probably have to adapt it, your style, after you actually get the feel of the mech. But spend a bit first. For example, sensors. Yet again, as I mentioned, I've come to the conclusion most of my mechs I will spend 9 points on sensors. As I mentioned, that will be down the left side, because of course it depends on your playstyle, but spending 9 points you get radar depth 60% and targeting info 28%. So that really suits my style. I can target components really fast, and radar depth prevents me from getting lurmed, or rather helps me break locks because I hate lurms. So I have 2 more, one for miscellaneous, and I appear to have one more skill point somewhere. So this happens quite often for me, by the way. After planning, I seem to have missed out 1 or 2. So let's take a look. There it is. So remember, when you click after referring to your plans, you might actually miss out 1 or 2 nodes. So look for your goal and high priority nodes. So to me, these are very low priority. I'm looking for things that I wanted, and there it is. So after a tedious process of click, the UI is really horrible, by the way. I have got my 91 points synced in exactly the way I planned according to my design intent. So let's apply changes. Yep, there it goes. And there's my mech. Yet again, you can click on that icon there here to get the full skill list. So in a quick thing, just to mention a few, I've got a lot of heat dissipation, 60% radar deprivation, some targeting info, even screen shake 70%. That's quite a lot. And that's my Hunchback 4P. There it is. So let's bring it out to the battlefield and see how it performs out there. Let's give it a ride. Okay, so here is my Hunchback 4P, fully skilled up on Mining Collective. So yep, one guy AFK. So I'm gonna test this mech with the new skill tree system, and yep, moves fast, speed of 89, anchor turn helps it move pretty okay. So let's see how this does offensively. So I'm gonna actually link up the assaults. Assaults actually do soak up a lot of damage under the new skill tree, so experienced players will basically use it to do what assaults are supposed to do. Push forward, take damage, and punish the enemy. So I'm not gonna... Sorry, distracted by that guy. I'm not gonna duel face to face with those assaults. I'm just gonna corner peek with my bunch of lasers there. Yep. Awesome Alpha, LRM Bill, Kodiak Bravo. We are pushing Delta 3, let's push it together. In fact, let's corner peek here. So remember, this mech is meant to corner peek, do damage that way, without overheating. And bug out. So that was a good trade. Minimal damage to my right torso. Stay together team, stay together. And Man, why am I taking damage in the rear? Echo, Echo, focus that boiler. And I forgot my consumables. So using my anchor turn to maximize my maneuverability. No cool shot, so I gotta be a bit more cautious. Oh, quick ignition, save me now. Oh, that's not too bad. Not night vision. Can't take that damage. Kodiak 3 Delta, CT Cord. Yup, assault, take all the damage. Let me get the kill! I got it! Whoops. So gonna use this Warhawk as cover. Oh, another kill. Torso hunting. Ah, lurks. Echo 3, 2 mechs, focus on those. India, Highlander. Yeah, I gotta call them. Cool down a bit. Let this assault, this Warhawk, take the damage. I gotta admit, the XL cell is wonderful. Cool down a bit. So that's not too bad. Ah, overheated. Override. 8-3 guys. Back to base, Alpha. Lone boats must die. Lone boats must die. Oh, got him. Overheating, but that's okay. So as you can see, the XLD cell for this mech is wonderful. Taken minimal damage, some to my rear, somebody came to my rear earlier. And oh, there's Max Grimfang. Hello Max. So yeah, doing pretty well. Anchor turn 15%. Heartbreak is pretty good. And that's a victory. So this is the Hunchback 4P with the design intent to basically be a glass cannon laser vomit. So 533 damage, 3 killing blows, 1 KFDD. Not too bad actually a performance. Let's look at the scores. 390, second in team. So hope you enjoyed this video and how to make the mech of your dreams using the structure designed by MetaMechs. That's GMan129. He's on Patreon. You can add him. The link is in the description below. And using, most importantly, the Skill Tree Planner by Tarogato. So this is BrioS signing off. I will see you on the battlefield.